and how many great shows we've been bringing you. 2 weeks back, we had El Gran Cachao. Last week, we had the Latin 4 Memories at the Wild Palm, and tonight a very special edition celebrating their 40th year in our music, bringing us some great memories and a very interesting journey for their own personal lives. I have with me Richie Ray and Bobby Cruz, but for this portion we have El Señor Richie Ray. Richie, welcome to Salsa Profiles.
¿Cómo está, Jorge? Glad to be here.
It's a pleasure having you here. You're celebrating your 40th year in our music. It's been half of it split between straight up salsa and the other half with your religious conversion. How has that journey been for you overall?
Well, it's been exciting. I tell you that music is like a bug. If you get bit by that bug, you're hooked, and you can't get away from it. Like the Puerto Rican singer Nidia Caro. At one time, she sang canto por cantar. In other words, I just sang to sing. You know, now we're so glad that we can be grateful for a long and fruitful career and really pretty nice life, you know. And now I play and I'm happy. I have a grateful heart, and I want to just share that good beat with everybody.
That's fair. For people who don't know your history, you're a Brooklyn native, I believe?
Yes, Puerto Rican parents. My mom is from Orocovis, my dad is from Manatí, and I'm from Brooklyn, Puerto Rico.
How did it all start for you musically?
Well, actually, it started with my dad, because he used to play in these little conjuntos in weddings and stuff like that. And I understand he also played with a conjunto La Di, was a kind of a very well-known group way back in Puerto Rico. My dad was born in 1917, so you can imagine. Yeah, and he never really studied formally, and he played guitar. And like right now, just a few years ago, he's a little bit manic. He grabbed the guitar and wouldn't stop for 48 hours one time. Wow, so he passed on that kind of enthusiasm and discipline to me and my brother Ray Maldonado, which some of our viewers know. Ray passed away a few years ago. So it actually started with Pacifico Maldonado, my dad, you know, with the guitar. He felt limited after a while because he had not studied. He felt if I had studied, I could go further. And he's from that generation of Puerto Ricans that came, you know, give my kids a better life, better education, blah, blah, blah. And he really did. I studied at the Brooklyn Conservatory. Then I studied at the High School of Performing Arts, and I went on to Juilliard School of Music.
Oh yeah, no, there is no critiquing or underestimating your talent. You know, you could tell by what you brought to the music. You have been musically trained or educated through the system. I don't want to say classically trained, because I don't know if you go that deep, but do you consider yourself classically trained?
Yeah, I did that whole thing, and for a long time, I thought that's the way I would go. That was my dad's plan. You know how sometimes your parents kind of plan out your life for you? But along the way, I don't know, you start getting to know yourself, and actually I grew up with my dad playing guaracha, and montunos and all that kind of stuff. So that was there, and eventually that came to the foreground, and I really got into that.
And we're glad you did. Definitely, we're very glad you did. The music nowadays, I mean, I'm sure you follow just what's happening. You know, you can't miss it. What's your take on what's being recorded now as to opposed to, let's say, the late 60s, early 70s?
Well, you know, Jorge, music is an art form. Salsa is an art form. And an art form has to be progressing, evolving, and changing constantly. Otherwise, it goes stale and it just dies. So it's normal that music would continue to evolve. So what's the story? Salsa today is not what salsa was 15 or even 10 years ago.
Very true.
Right now, there was a very big thing that happened, that Richie Ray and Bobby Cruz went nuts a few years ago. Something big happened. We got out of the way, and you know, some of the people kind of got off the scene. A few people died and whatnot, and there was a change in the direction that the music took, you know, which is normal. You see, Bobby and I feel we're very fortunate. We caught the tail end of a very important era. You know, we saw your Machitos, your Tito Rodriguez, your Tito Puente. I remember Sexteto La Playa, Sexteto La Plata, you know, a whole lot of Arsenio. You know, we caught the end of a very good time. We actually got to see and hear these heavy players, the real strict rhythm sections and a lot of this stuff. what happens by our generation and the next generation, these kids are picking up what they picked up a little bit from us, and they don't really have the original stuff to go by. But what are they getting bombarded with? You know, R&B, rock and roll, que si hip-hop, que si rap, all the stuff of the moment. So what happens is it's become kind of a Latin pop. And you know, me and Bobby, we feel that we have a lot to do with the formation of salsa. And to me, salsa is pretty much anything over a beat of Afro-Cuban music with clave. You know, that's the way I define it. See, before us, you had montuno, guaguancó, mambo, cha-cha-cha. Kind of with us, the name got kind of generic, salsa, and it covers a lot of stuff. And I think we had a lot to do with that, because like you said, I came out of like the conservatory. I had my head full with Beethoven and Tchaikovsky and Bach and all these guys, and that's in there, and it's moving around, and it wants to do something. So what happens? It starts coming out. You know, we did a song like Cabo and there's like a part of like classical trumpets in the middle. And then we did Sonido Bestial, of course, to me is the classic salsa song. Has a little jazz, has a little classical, has a little Stravinsky, has a little everything. You know, so to me, at least for us, we define it that way, like a mix, a nice, rich cultural mix of different things over un masacote. In other words, you have to have that rhythm section. To me, I remember Eddie Palmieri's rhythm section. Those guys, they were hateful. They were so good, you know. They used to blow us out of the room, you know.
Well, I think that one thing I think all Salsa Profiles listeners will appreciate was your definition of salsa right there. I think that's one of the best ones I heard in my years, and I think that's one for the record books, definitely. We're back at Salsa Profiles. As you can tell, I sort of moved my seat. I have Richie Ray to one side of me, and now joining us is the Senor Bobby Cruz, the other half of obviously Richie Ray and Bobby Cruz. Bobby, welcome to Salsa Profiles. How's everything with you?
Everything is just great. You know, we are moving along.
Well, speaking to Richie, I understand you're celebrating your 40th year in music together, and what is your take on looking back at that musical history?
Well, I tell you, I feel like I've lived 1,000 lives. It's been like a real good roller coaster ride. You know, coming back, we got back again on '91, and since then we've just been touring, and people are there for us, which surprised us a lot, because we thought after 20-some odd years we were gone and forgotten, you know, but it's not so. Young people, it seems like the older generation passed our legacy on to their children. So we have, you know, most of our crowd is younger than 25 years old.
That's great. He sounds like he's the demographic guy. He's doing the analysis, the statistics. There you go. But I just want to go back to Richie for a second, because that was something I wanted to ask you on what you were talking about. Tunes like Sonido Bestial, they were somewhat hits, but I think time made them more of a hit, and time made them obviously a classic. So what was the initial take on when that song came out?
Well, when we started doing the crazy things that we started doing, mixing things up, we began with, remember, the Boogaloo, which was bringing in like really the radio music of that time of English, mixing it up with the Latin, you know. The first reaction from your conservatives, musical conservatives, was that we were adulterating our music by mixing it up, because there was a very strong, how can I call it, conservative movement at the time. I remember that when we used to go to Local 802 and hang out with the rhythm players at the Union, they would always talk about la clave. You can't cross la clave, and you had to do everything a certain way. And we just came in and said, why not? You know, let's try this, let's try that, you know. And so at first, it was looked upon like, what's going to happen here? Are these guys going to ruin everything? You know, because I guess being a Latin culture in an American society, we always want to retain our identity and who we are, and not just blend in and disappear, especially if you're Puerto Rican. You know, we don't go for that. You know, we like to let them know who we are, you know, and that we're here and we're proud of that, you know. So I think at first it was like that, but something happened there. Something happened. I mean, I remember when we came in, you had your Joe Cuba, your Tito Puente, your Eddie Palmieri. I mean, these were some tremendous bands. Machito, Tito Rodriguez. You had to be brave to put a little group together and play against these guys, you know. So we started working, and finally when it broke through, it kind of opened a door, and along with us, working very, very, very close was like Willie Colon con Hector Lavoe, and then you had your Joe Batans and all them boogaloo people, you know, that were mixing a little English in here and there. And eventually something happened, and it just grabbed on, and it kind of went for itself for a while. When we saw there was too many people on the boogaloo wagon, then we jumped back to the holla holla. Right. And we did holla holla with boogaloo, and that worked out pretty good for us, you know. And then after that, we just said, let's just mix it up. And we started doing all kinds of different things, you know. We even did some santero music, if you remember. You know, we had I didn't really know anything about that religion or anything about it. I would just hear stuff, and anything I kind of liked, I would like do my own little arrangements of it, you know. I remember I heard some stuff of Cruz that would stand your hair on end, you know. And then we did our own little arrangements of a lot of that stuff, and mixing up jazz and a little rock and roll and a little everything, you know. So today, the one big difference I see is the recording is much more refined today than at that time.
That's equipment, definitely.
George, we did our first recording on 2 tracks, okay? 2 tracks. I mean, I don't want you to think I'm ancient or anything like that, you know what I mean? But we started with 2 tracks. Today they use 56 tracks, you know, 96 tracks, you know, whatever. We did our first, everybody had to play in the same room all at the same time. Y la madre of anybody who made a mistake. Because you had to do the whole thing all over again, you know what I mean?
That was almost like direct to disc at that time. It was a great recording session. Yeah. So go back to you, Bobby. Obviously, we have the music-driven force here. Your accompanist. What has been your input overall into this combination? From just being the front man, what's your role behind the scenes? Or what has it been behind the scenes during those years?
Well, basically I write the songs. I write most of the songs, and Richie arranges them. But basically we worked everything out together. You know, we sit down, I come up with a song after Richie, here, here's the song, and then we'll sit and work on it until it, well, I would think that my input has been trying to keep Richie commercial, because
really?
Richie, he's a great musician, you know, so he would do music that only he understands. Okay. So, you know, I have to like try to keep him commercial. No, that's gonna go over people's heads, you know. Let's bring it down a little bit, but not, and
I don't want to put you on the spot of this, you know, because history is written by other people, and you're a public person, and the fans will say where you go as well as the critics go. Where do you feel your vocal talents lie in terms of all the singers out there that have been? Where would you like to see yourself put?
Well, I don't. Pavarotti is a singer. Okay. Carrera is a singer. Plácido Domingo is a singer. Yeah. We are basically the people, soneros, you know. Now, as a sonero, where do I put myself compared to these guys? Well, it's hard because, like for example, if you ask me who my favorite soneros are, I would start with Cheo Feliciano. I think he's top gun. Andy Montañez. I think he's top gun. And, you know, so I'll sneak my Do Chavito in between them in there, you know.
That's fair. That's fair. And I really didn't expect you to go any other route than to tip your hat to other people. Has it ever, I know you have done some solo things on your own, but when those projects came and went, has you felt missing someone such as Richie, or was it just you needed your own inspirations at that time to go solo?
No, even when I was solo, Richie was there. So, you know, it's just that they projected, the company wanted to project the 2 artists or something like that. Right. So, you know, so Bobby Cruz solo, Bobby Cruz sings for you, but still, it was Richie, you know, working the arrangements out and everything.
Always in the background. So you two have basically been rather inseparable. Yeah,
we actually believe that, you know, we were kind of put together by something beyond ourselves, you know. People used to think we were man and wife, you know.
It happens, it happens.
But it wasn't that kind of thing. It's a musical thing. And the truth of the matter is, I mean, Bobby is a person with a very high natural talent. I mean, he would not only sing me the song, he would say, okay, and the intro is ba ba da ba bing bing bam bam bam. He would sing me the mambos, you know, and the whole thing. But we found that it just works best when we work together. That's when the thing comes out the way it's supposed to come out. You know, like there's a lot of checks and balances there when we work together. And we're looking forward to just keep doing this as long as, you know, we can.
Well, let's touch on that, because now it seems you're coming back more. You're obviously doing the 40-year tour, you know, and you know, obviously history has already said that the two of you together have led a unique life, from leaving the scene, a religious conversion, going into Christian music. Now, when you look back, can you say that at that moment it was too drastic to go from leave one to go into the other, or it was progression of one, or would you rather have, let's say, worked religion into your everyday life and maintained what you were doing in terms of, let's say, commercial salsa? But let Bobby go first, and then you could run with that.
Okay. Well, you know, the thing is this. I'll try to explain it this way. Richie mentioned that we recorded some Santero music.
Right.
Okay, well, that's religious music.
Okay.
I mean, that was so religious that we had Santeros come and threaten us because we were using that music.
Right, and you were not part of the religion. Right.
Right, it's holy music to them. Now, everybody accepted that. We never had any criticisms about Cabo A or any one of those Santero songs that we played. Now, we come up with Christ-centered songs, and everybody says, that's religious. But you know, we made the same salsa that we did with Cabo A, we did it with the Christ-centered music. It's still the same band, it's still the same salsa. They got prejudice against it because it mentioned Christ. They didn't get prejudice against it when it mentioned Babalu. But if it mentioned Christ, they were prejudiced against it. So they didn't want to play it in the radio stations. People didn't even want to hear it. People didn't even want to buy it, you know. And it was just a prejudice against the person of Jesus Christ, because now they're discovering the music. We went to Ecuador, we went to Venezuela, and we went to Colombia, and a song called Escribas y Fariseos was in the #1 position. Now, it so happened that the song Escribas y Fariseos was recorded 23 years ago, and it's now in the #1 position. And why? Because they are now discovering, man, this is great stuff. But at that time, that's religious music, we don't want it. Well, how come they did not reject the Santero music?
Well, I'll say this to that. Okay, one is that good music will find its way, but to be a little more coy, I will say some people finally saw the light. So it could work either way. If the music at the time was rejected, as you so well put, because of religious overtones, well, now maybe those tones are, maybe the message was too advanced for the public then, and then maybe now's the time for it to come out, which is great.
Well, let's see. I want to give you my take on that. I want to tell you something, Jorge, and the folks watching Salsa Profiles. This thing that happened to us was no little thing. I mean, this is a real thing. It was big. I mean, this is hard to even conceive, but, you know, I've been saved almost 30 years now. This happened 30 years ago, you know. Today, people have billion smash records, one or two, and they're gone 2 years later.
Right.
You know what I mean? Here we are. We were saved 30 years ago, and hey, things are picking up. We've never been better. It was a big thing to chew on and to swallow. I think it took us a while to see how we were going to deal with this. I'll tell you the truth. I think, you see, how can I say, the sexual revolution was kind of starting to get rolling at the time that we got saved. Okay. You know, I think that we needed to really get a little bit to the side to chew on this and really digest it and get our act together. I think now that we've come back after all this time, we are standing firm. We know where we're standing. We know what we're doing with this whole thing. We've been able to absorb it and deal with it, you know. And all we want to do is be up there and let people say, see, there is an alternative. In other words, what's being fed to you by the media, by what's being fed to you by, you know, a whole lot of everybody else out there is not the only thing that there is. There's something else that you could take a look at. You know, we're not trying to shove a spoon down anybody's throat. You know what I mean? Or,
well,
or a Bible down anybody's throat. You know.
No, but let's discuss that then. So what you're saying is, with this tour, you're reflecting on your old music of, let's say, the 60s or 70s.
Yeah, on the tour, we play all of our hits.
Right. But then you're going beyond that. So let's say after the tour, let's say next year, where are you next year? Are you coming back to, say, with Christian music again? Or
I tell you...
Or Christ-centered music? I like that. I like that.
Since we came back... The only thing people want is sonido bestial, hala, bomba, cámara, you know. So we're kind of chained to that stuff, you know. There's a whole repertoire right now that if we don't play it, we don't come out alive, you know. We got to play all that stuff. What Bobby and I are dying to do is sit down and be able to do an album of new music. We got a whole lot of stuff cooking inside that we want to express.
Okay, but what's new music then? Where are you going with that?
What we feel is that life is 2 feet on the ground reality, right? That is real life. Now, in the midst of that, we have seen a little light. So we're looking at something like real life with that little bit of light in there. In other words, continue with great, good music, who we are, what we are. We represent a certain type of salsa, and we aim to continue with that. It was like you were asking me before if we were using the trombones.
Right.
Personally, I kind of like the trombones, you know, it makes it nice and fat. Right. But as far as Richie Ray and Bobby Cruz are concerned, the people just want the trumpets, you know. We have to keep a certain profile because that's what people got to love and that's what they like. And that's the way they expect to see us, you know. But we want to do new stuff. And, you know, like Bobby said, he writes the words. He gets all these crazy ideas, you know. And we want to do just new, original, down-to-earth, real great music, you know, with a lot of good salsa, which is what we've always done.
Excellent. And Bobby, since you are the man of the words, what are some of your words for the current generation out there, you know, that's listening to the sound out there now that you know does have problems? What's a consejo overall?
Well, George, what Richie and I are trying to do is preach by example without saying anything. We just want to stand in front of the people and let them be the judge. Here are these two guys, you know, Rich is pushing 60, I'm 65. You know, people tell me, you guys look so great. True. What is it? What do you eat? And you know, it isn't what we eat. It's the kind of lifestyle that we lead now. See, we're not trasnochando, like they say. We're not drinking ourselves under the table. We're not using drugs. You know, we lead very good, healthy lives. We want to stand in front of people and people to see, I'm married to the same woman for 42 years.
God
you know, but I want people to see this could be your life too. You know, we don't, at this point in time of our lives, I don't think we need to say much. All we need to do is just stand there and show people what God has done in our lives.
That's great, but I think also they want to hear a good montuno and some nice vocals to go along with that.
That's definitely the vehicle. You know?
So are you looking for a record label now, or where are you guys in terms of recording something?
We have just recorded a live concert, the 40th year was recorded live, and it is our 100th recording.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's something. You guys need better press, because I only thought Puente hit that, you know, 100 plus, but 100, you know, I was saying 100 albums.
Right.
100 recordings,
yeah. This is
well, I didn't know your discography was like that. I'm going to go home on the net and count 100 somewhere, but go ahead.
I believe that you could get them out of the internet.
Okay.
Yeah, you probably count a little bit more than 100, but it's because some of them we don't count them because they were like recompilations, you know.
Okay.
So you'll probably count like 105, but we count 100.
Okay,
you know.
That's fair.
Anyway, that was recorded live. We're in the process of now remixing and mastering the thing, and we haven't decided who we want to to release it with. We have a few options, and we're just, checking them out.
Oh, so you're saying this is a live recording that you have in the can now, but as opposed to the one that came out a few years back?
Yes, it's a different one. The one we did was when we first got back together in '99.
Right.
It was called VIP. That was with the Universal label. And that was a bunch of our hits. But this one was actually another live concert in the same place, Rubén Rodriguez.
Okay.
And what happened here was that, I tell you something, it was maybe the hardest thing we ever did. This was like 29 songs that we played. We did this 2 nights in a row, sold out. And we had other artists. There were other singers with us. I mean, even Johnny Pacheco was there, And a lot of people that wanted to celebrate that 100th record and the 40th anniversary with us. And so it's a jam-packed album, a lot of great stuff. And it's similar to the other one, but a little different,
No, well, no.
And different songs, totally different.
But with if you have guest stars and a lineup like that, that must be an exciting, a very exciting event. So that's a Salsa Profiles first. You could look for that one to happen. Let me ask you this overall: what song or songs, so you can name a few, do you truly enjoy singing of your repertoire, or even outside of your repertoire, that may be in the shower?
Yeah. I tell you the truth, I don't even listen to my music. Once I record it, I don't listen to it back again. The reason being not that I am a critic of my own thing, but it isn't that. I can't get engaged to a song because I will repeat myself when I write others. So what I do is I'm constantly singing a new song, constantly. When I'm in the shower, I'm singing a new song. If I like it, I record it, I write words to it, and I meet with Richie.
Okay, I'm sure you have a favorite. You gotta give me an answer here.
Well, I can put it to you from a different point of view. Let's say from the point of view of the people. Okay. There's 3 songs here. Chronologically, the first big smash that was, did a whole lot for us was Hala Hala. Right. That was a rhythm that we ripped off from El Gran Combo. Sure. Robertito Roena made it up on the cowbell. Right. And the song starts with the beat of the Hala Hala with the piano. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. That was like something incredible. That really opened the door big time for us. Then you have your classic salsa song, which is Sonido Bestial. That gives you all those different cultural things over a real good masacote. But what happened was, there was a song that's come to be our #1 bestseller now. It's a song called Juan en la Ciudad. Right. It's one of our, like Christian salsa songs, and it's a story from the Bible about this son that tells his dad, hey, I want my inheritance now. I want to enjoy it now, and it's a whole thing that goes on there. And what's happened with that is, that was recorded, my God, 20 years ago or something like that. 29 years ago, yeah. And wherever we go, that one, like we must play it. It's become really the most loved song of ours over all these years. So those are the main 3. You got your Hala Hala, Sonido Bestial, and Juan en la Ciudad.
You're a good politician because you didn't answer the question. What song do you like playing?
Which I like the most?
What's a favorite to you that you feel the blood in the fingertips? You go, yeah, I'm gonna crank this one out.
Well, there's a song that I do as a piano solo. Okay. And there was a famous pianist called Noro Morales, Puerto Rican pianist, pre-salsa times, and he has a song called Maria Cervantes. Oh, sure. Maria Cervantes. It's a piano solo. It's very Chopinesque, like Chopin, So I love Chopin and I love Noro Morales, so I really get a kick out of playing that one. That's great. Tito Puente recorded that too.
Oh, no, definitely. Yeah, definitely. A nice vibe version. And we're just about ready to wrap it up with Richie Ray and Bobby Cruz. And, basically you guys are legends. I'm a small little dot in music history. If I even get that far from the people in New York City that give me that type of recognition, which I'm very grateful for. You've been playing music before I got into it, and like anything else, you're seen as legends. You're on the stage, and there's rumors like anything else, attitudes, this, that, and I was a little apprehensive coming down for this interview because I really didn't have a figure, just a feel for either of you. And I must say, I enjoyed your company. I enjoyed your presentation. Obviously there's more to you than what the press leads on to. Your music does speak for yourself, but for the quality of music that you have put out, straight, secular, non-secular, there is a spark behind you too. And I'm glad to have had this opportunity, and the viewers also, to share with the dialogue from the both of you. So to wrap it up, looking over your career, and that's what this has all been about. Not to say that there have been mistakes, but there's always corrections, and I think part of your religious conversion attends to that there are fine-tuning. Mm-hmm. What would you do again?
Well, I would definitely would have liked to have the opportunity to study formally music, that is. Right. I would have. I just didn't have the opportunity because of my background, broken home, welfare kid, Right. If I had to do all over again and had the opportunity, that's the one thing I would have done. Just study music and become a fine-tuned musician.
And you think that would have changed slightly the direction of your life, or just would have enhanced everything that occurred for you?
Who knows? Sometimes when you know too much, you do too little.
Very true. Very true. He's a philosopher here. I can tell that. I can see that. The wordsmith. And you, senor?
Well, I tell you, I'm pretty happy with my life. I'm really glad the way everything turned out. I got to know the Lord when I was like 29. I guess it would have been good to know him a little sooner, maybe a little earlier, But I tell you, things have not gone bad. People tell me that I look okay, that I look happy, and I am. Yeah. I am. I'm very grateful. I'm a grateful person for everything that God has done in my life. So like I say, I'm just grateful. I'm glad to be doing what we're doing. We love this music. We love the people. We've always loved the people, and we're very grateful to them. We always think of them. That's why we didn't want to go off and become a couple of religious holier-than-thou. You know what I mean? We think, what about our people who followed us? I mean, why don't we try to share a little bit of this with them? So like I say, I really have nothing to be sorry for. I really think God had a purpose in everything that's happened, and I'm just trying to follow his lead and take it till the end.
Richie, thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Bobby,
George,
mucho suerte, and I'm looking forward to the set at the Copa tonight.
Amen.
Sounds good.
song, man.